Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion, and this is part 2 of my IPL 2023 mini auction review. The auction had been conducted a few months ago now, and I posted part 1 of this review straight after the auction had ended. However, because of technical issues, I unfortunately couldn't post this video sooner to that date. And with the Bora Gavaskar Trophy going on, I chose to review the test matches that were going on thus far, and I'll be reviewing the fourth test match after it ends tomorrow. And resuming from where I left off, I reviewed the first 5 teams of my list in no particular order. I'll be continuing to do that in this case as well. So on the Rajasthan Royals, this is my potential 11 from the video that I posted before the auction was conducted. And as you can see, I've listed price ranges for certain players that I thought that they could go for. And I know I expected the price ranges not to be entirely accurate, but I thought the books were balanced out overall. Sam Curran went for 18.5 crores in the end, but certain other players went for 2 or 3 crores less than what I thought they'd go for, and some players weren't sold at all. So I thought that there clearly were some, especially in the international fast bowling unit, there were some high quality options available for very low base prices, but weren't taken by teams, and this would have made their lives easier had they been taken by those teams. And the reason why I thought Rajasthan Royals could go for Sam Curran is because out of 13.2 crores, I thought they could just about ice it, even if it went to 13 crores. And of course, other teams with more money would think, right, we could outbid them and they wouldn't have any money, which in the end, with Harry Brook, that's what happened. And the reason why I thought they should go for Sam Curran, if they could go for him, is because something that was precarious for them the previous season is their batting depth. Ideally, in a T20 side, you'd want batting depth down to number 8, and what happened was that they had depth down to number 7, and because of how intelligently R. Ashwin was the intermediary, they kind of made sure that things didn't go out of hand more often than not. And I thought that with Sam Curran, you get the death bowler as well, which would complement this attack. Then, had Prasidh Krishna been available for this season, him and Trent Boult could have attacked up front. You could have bowled an over or 2 of them at the death alongside Sam Curran, and as well as that batting option at number 7, meaning Ashwin would bat at 8. So the side really would have improved if this first 11 was achieved. This is these are the signings that they made on auction day. I thought the signing of Jason Holder was a good signing, despite the fact that he fits a slightly different role to Sam Curran. And I thought the signing of Donovan Ferraria was something that KKR should have gone for, because I thought that he would have provided coverage across the top 6, as well as being an overseas keeper batsman who can play short-pitched bowling well, something which KKR struggled with in their previous season. And the reason why I think he's a very good signing for the Rajasthan Royals is because he can bat across the top 6 and provides cover in 2 positions, especially for Josh Butler opening the batting, since he can also keep wickets and goes aggressively, and for Shimron Hetmeyer at number 5 as well. So I thought that was a really good signing from them. Murugan Ashwin and another Indian wrist spinner to complement Jaswinder Chahal and Harichandran Ashwin. With the impact player role, you'd think that those 3 defending a score on a turning track would be very difficult for the team batting second. There are 2 signings here which, in my view, they can only play in a particular situation each. Now, for Adam Zampa, what they could do is leave out Trent Boult, which I think would be unlikely, and they could play Jason Holder, Navdeep Saini and Kuldeep Sen, and play, if it's on a turning track, Ashwin, Adam Zampa and Yuzvendra Chahal. And you'd think on a turning track that would be quite a handful. And for Joe Root, the only way I think he could fit into the side is if Shimron Hetmeyer is left out, Root bats at 3, Samson 4, Riyan Parag 5, and Holder bats at 6. I don't think there is a necessity to do the latter, because you've already got Devdutt Padikkal who could play that kind of a role. And I actually thought that on a few occasions in the previous season, even when he was batting at 3 or 4, Yes, he was batting out of position, but David Padikkal actually showed some good signs and went to at least 9 and overall. So he can do it, especially on good tracks, but he would be batting out of position. Joe Root certainly wants to reinstate his credentials as a T20 player, especially to back to what it was in 2016. And he played in the IOT20, scored a couple of 80s, but I think it's important to contextualize what we saw in that league where it seemed way too easy for him to score those runs. I'm not saying this because I don't think he can score runs in the IPL. I'm saying this because you've already got David Padikkal there. It's been a breakout season for Rian Parag with both bat and ball. I've labelled him as the most naturally confident player in this competition, and I feel like he hasn't been given enough opportunities to show what he can do. The one time he really got an opportunity, he helped his side get enough runs on the board against RCB to win the game. So I really think that he has expected this. I'm very happy for him that he has had this breakout season, and I think he should bat in the top 5 in the season, and I've got him down at number 4 with Hetmeyer at 5. And I think something must be ensured, as you can see by the number 3, that however long a Sanju Samson innings lasts, he looks $1 billion whenever he bats. And I just think that him batting below number 3 in a T20 game is a travesty. You could play Padikkal and all those players, but I just feel like Samson batting at 4, he could do that, but you're just delaying class and talent, the class and talent that's on show, if you bat him below where he should be batting. So that's on that. I think on the side, once again, it's the case where I actually think for this season, the batsmen have been in good enough form to do what the team just about managed to do last season, which is hold themselves afloat in terms of their batting depth. And despite the fact that Prasidh Krishna's absence would be a huge blow, I do think these bowlers are good enough, the ones they have in the starting 11, to club together and get a very good result for their side. However, they should hope that Navdeep Saini, who hasn't had a great time with injury, and Obed McCoy, who hasn't had a great time with injuries either, and don't suffer with those two in this competition, especially with the absence of Prasidh Krishna. But I do think if things go like they did in the previous season, which with the form of the batsmen and the form of the bowlers, if they remain injury-free, that you think it could go that way, then I think Rajasthan Royals certainly do seem like they'll qualify this season. Now the Mumbai Indians. This was my preview as to what I thought they should do. Of course, they couldn't get Sam Curran. They surprisingly didn't even bid for Wayne Parnell, who was at the same base price as Jason Behrendorff, and they bought Behrendorff before the auction started, which I didn't get at all. A very one-dimensional pick, someone who struggles after the power play, does not play for his national side, and only plays in one domestic league in competition, compared to Wayne Parnell, who even then he starts every white ball game for his side, and his rise in the last year has been phenomenal. So I don't understand why they didn't bid for him when he covers more bases for the same price. They couldn't get Sam Curran, but I thought actually they, even with his overall price in the end, had they got Wayne Parnell instead of Behrendorff for the same price, then even if they bid 18.5 for Sam Curran, then they could have actually got, but I thought they could have got some other signings, these 4 as well, or at least 3 of those 4. Shashank Singh being a domestic finisher, I don't know why teams didn't even bid for him when it would be a sought-after commodity, you'd think. Dasun Shanaka, with what he's done in the subcontinent, he's been fantastic, and I think with Tristan Stubbs, the aggregate runs so far haven't been there on a consistent basis. Didn't have a great SAT 20 either. And you'd think Dasun Shanaka, what he's done in the subcontinent, could bat at number 6. And in the end, you've not got any of those 3 bowlers, and Sam Curran, Wayne Parnell, or just with Bumrah bowling, and the death bowling would have been sorted there. But I thought, had this template been adhered to, then they'd be in a better position than I think they are at right now. And yeah, I mean, as you can see by the signing, Jai Richardson already ruled out, and I thought they did not need Cameron Green. I was dumbfounded, honestly, when they bid so much money for him. And I think that it's not his fault that he's getting this much money, but I think that in T20s he's a very unproven commodity. Yes, he scored a very good century in the ongoing Border Gavaskar Trophy test, the fourth test match, but I just think that as for when this auction took place, I mean, and even then, that's not T20 credentials, of course. So as for when this auction took place, I really don't get why he went for this much money. I personally thought he wouldn't get a bid if teams were sensible. Not anything against the player, but he just is unproven in T20s at this point in time. And this is the 11 that I've got. They already had Tim David at number 5 and potentially Tristan Stubbs at 6 even before this auction took place. Now they spent 17.5 crores for someone who will bowl about 2 overs in a T20 game, maybe 3, and bat at 5, which you already had Tim David doing, and Stubbs could have batted at 6, so I don't get that at all. And with the absence of Jasprit Bumrah, the absence of Jai Richardson, I don't think would have helped bowling at the death, but and because look, yes, Jofra Archer's back playing cricket again. Every ball that he bowls is an event, but I think when you don't treat the problem and you treat the symptoms, the problem's going to keep on occurring again. That is a stress fracture because of his action. He didn't play all the games in the SA20 in the group stage, a slightly shorter group stage than in the IPL, so I don't think he'll play all the games here. And he's already it's very cautious kind of whenever he steps out onto the field and even bowls a ball. So I don't think they can rely on him for this season. So you've effectively got a case where you haven't got too much fast bowling cover, or even more than that, you haven't really got death bowling cover at all. And if you haven't got Bumrah and Archer playing for you, then I don't know how Arjun Tendulkar would bowl at the death. But if he doesn't bowl at the death, then you've effectively got no one to bowl at the death. Which is why, to save their current predicament, I've gone for fairly intelligent replacements. Now, with Jai Richardson being injured, this is your chance to go for Wayne Parnell and sign him up because, for 75 lakh, you've got these 2 quality international fast bowlers, one at 75, one at 50. And I just feel like what you can do is, because the prices they're actually less priced. The prices of these players are less than what you played for the original signing. So you could effectively keep these players after you sign them, which I think would do hold them in great stead. And the best Yorker bowler in South Africa right now, Sisanda Magala, had a brilliant SA20 and has been called up to the national side and offers that batting depth as well, meaning in this 11 everyone would be able to bat. And I just think with Jofra Archer only being able to play not all the games in the group stage, with the precarious nature around him, you could even still keep him in the side and maybe release some other bowler for the next season and keep Sisanda Magala there. I think that is well worth it. And then you've got 2 bowlers who can bowl in all phases of the innings, and Arjun Tendulkar who can bowl up front, and you're in a much better position than you would have been without these 2. Will they make these 2 signings? I don't know. I don't really have too high hopes for them this season, simply because if they don't get a Wayne Parnell, a fit Jofra Archer, or a Sisanda Magala, what you've got is, if someone really takes to this lineup and goes hard at them, who's the player that's going to take wickets for them in the middle overs? There's only one player who I can think of. Now, the reason why I've included Piyush Chawla here is because he doesn't take bucket loads of wickets like a Kuldeep Yadav pretend, but I feel like he's taken over 150 wickets in the IPL, a proven performer, and I feel like his experience will be vital for this side. So that's for the Mumbai Indians. I don't really think they'll have a great season at this point in time. I think these signings will help them, but let's see how they go. Yeah, if they make these signings, by the way. And now KKR. This was my potential 11. I knew they couldn't get Nicholas Sprome, but I just put him there anyway. They only had 7 crores, and I thought that even if they only signed Pro and they spent 1 crore for him, then you could take it. But at the same time, they would have wanted to buy more options. I thought Donovan Ferreira could have been someone they should have gone for, because, like I said, they struggled playing high pace this season, a lot of their batsmen, and Donovan Ferreira provides the overseas key for batsmen, covers every position in the top 6, so I thought they should have gone for him. And in the end, they bought these signings. Now, yes, I think Leighton Das is a good signing, but I do think 1.5 crores for Shakib Al Hasan, someone who's T20 credentials. We haven't seen the best of him in the IPL, and unless he bats at 3, you're not getting the full value out of him as a player. With Shreyas Iyer in the side, he's under an injury card now in the 4th test of the Border Trophy. I hope he's okay. But if he does return for the IPL, then you wouldn't think Shakib Al Hasan would be able to bat at 3, and it's only available for 1 month anyway. So I don't get the really the point of 1.5 crores being invested there. Jagadisa, I think, is a bargain signing for 19 crores. 90 lakh rather than not 90 crores. 90 lakh rather. I thought he'd go for 2 or 3 crores because at that point in time he was getting some substantial scores in the domestic circuit. I thought he'd be flavor of the month. But I think he's a shrewd signing here because playing the Indian keeper batsman would open up options for them like it has done in this 11. I think David Visa is a good signing because it takes the pressure off Russell with the ball. Visa can certainly play good knocks with the bat, and you could bowl the 2 overs that Russell does bowl, if and when he does bowl. Visa could bowl. You could effectively play Russell as a batsman and kind of be worry-free partly in a bowling regard that he won't have to bowl. And pretend if you're playing in a 1K stadium and you get a lot of runs, 200 runs, Russell's hit some 70 odd or something, and you're thinking, I don't want Russell to bowl. I've got a very good bowling attack here where I've now got 2 players who complete the attack in Shardul Thakur and Lockie Ferguson. Then what I can do is I can effectively bring in Vaibhav Arora, who I've signed in this auction, who can bowl with a new ball alongside Umesh Yadav. And on a 1K surface, it'll be very difficult to get away. And they can actually bring him in instead of Russell as an impact player substitution. So they've got that luxury. And I actually think that even with 7 crores, with the sign they've made before the auction, the 2 signs they made, they've actually done quite a decent job. And I actually think that if things go right for them, they can qualify for the playoffs this year. And now the Punjab Kings, this is my potential 11. I thought they would buy back Mayank Agarwal. I'm surprised they didn't go for the extra money that it cost in the end. And Meredith was unsold for his base price, I think, was at 1 crore or so. But I thought they could have bought Wayne Parnell for 75 lakh, especially because they've got 1 overseas slot remaining as well. But I actually don't know what they were doing. Even after buying Sam Curran and Sikandar Raza, they have left 12 crores in the bank and 1 overseas slot in the bank, which I think is nonsensical when you've got 32 crores to spend. So you got the 2 signings there. I don't know what else they've done after that, to be honest. And they're sweating on Johnny Bairstow's fitness as well. So yes, I think Rassi van der Lissen could replace him. He was unsold surprisingly in this auction as well, but I think Rassi van der Lissen could replace him in that regard. But they of course would want Bairstow to be available for the season. But it's looking, he hasn't played cricket for a while. And already in the opening slot, you can see Mayank Agarwal alongside Shikhar Dhawan provided way more assurance than this opening partnership does. Nothing against Prabhsimran Singh, of course, but he hasn't, in the few games he's played in the IPL, he's looked very frantic. You haven't really got too many Indian batsmen as cover, apart from those in the starting 11. So you're going to play him for 14 games to see what he does. It's a huge jump to go from proven India player to a domestic player who hasn't found his feet as of now. And the bowling actually looks decent, but I would have rather them had a backup of Wayne Parnell for Sam Curran and Kahiza Rabada than Nathan Ellis, who I think right now in their current form there is a gulf, and I think Wayne Parnell is a better option. Also provides the batting depth as well. And I think apart from that, if they'd got Mayank Agarwal, had they got also a backup seamer and Wayne Parnell, the side would look much better. They would have retained the general core of their previous side. I just think that proven Indian batsman, apart from Shikhar Dhawan, is missing in this team, and that's something that they will hope Prabhsimran Singh can have a better outings than he has had before. But it's their fault that they didn't get Agarwal back when they had 12 crores to spend, and they could have had comfortably 2 or 3 crores left even had they bought Agarwal and Wayne Parnell. So that's on them. I don't think they'll do too much this season. I do think the signing of Sikandar Raza is a good one, And I don't know what Liam Livingstone will do this season because he hasn't exactly been in great form and has been injured for the last while now. Did not play a single game in the A20, so that's on Punjab Kings. I think their bowling looks good, but the batting seems a bit precarious in parts, and I don't think they will qualify this year. And now finally the Delhi Capitals. And before I continue on, of course, with what happened with Rishabh Pant, this was my potential 11 before the auction. Unfortunately, whatever happened. And the important thing is he is walking. Unfortunately, he won't be able to play cricket for a while, but the important thing is he's walking. And I thought they should go for the overseas all-rounder as a finisher. The finisher role is something that they've always it's been a precarious thing for them in the last couple of seasons. And that's why so especially previous season, I thought that Dasun Shanaka in the side, what he done in the subcontinent would certainly help them. Shank Singh, I don't know why teams didn't go for him, and Jagdish Harsuchit, I thought that did a decent job with SRH. And I said what I needed to say on Unutcut before, and if you want to see that, then you can go watch my the first of my review videos. These are the players that they did buy. Now they bought Phil Salt for 2 crores. Manish Pandey, I get why they bought him, because if you're looking at their Indian batsmen they've got, they aren't really getting too much assurance, probably apart from Prithvi Shaw and Rishabh Pant, who in the last few seasons hasn't really done too much in the IPL. He's given middling performances. And I thought they did overpay for Mukesh Kumar in the domestic seamers department. And I guess with Khalil Ahmed's injury status, I think he still is injured, then I guess they had to get another seamer there. But they did overpay for him, you'd think. And once again, with Anrich Nokia, another injury cloud for them. I actually think that you saw last season, he played about half the games or so, did not look on song at all, looked understandably rusty. The best Yorker bowler in the world is available for 50 lakh, and like I said, there are other players that the ones that you don't use, if you think you'd use Magala ahead of them, which you would do, then you could keep Magala next season and release the other players. So I think with these with these quality international bowlers which have a base price of less than a crore, you can't go wrong. And I think that also with the releasing of Shardul Thakur, he'd certainly add the batting depth as well. So I think he would be a very shrewd signing. And would actually be a blessing in disguise if they could sign him. I've gone for Yash Dhul to replace Rishabh Pant as 3, a very promising young batsman. And I've gone for him to take up the mantle at 3. The informed Sarfraz Khan at 4. I think they've got lucky with the finishing slot, if I'm being honest. They're lucky that Rovman Powell can bat at 6 or Phil Salt can bat at 5, pretend, like he has done for England a few times, because they haven't bought they haven't bought the Indian finisher in Shashank Singh, and they haven't bought the overseas finisher in Dasun Chanaka either. So they've got lucky. There's no other way to say it. But I think looking at this first team, it could still do something. As good as a form that Riley Rousseau has been in, I don't get how they're going to play without compromising the side. Because if Sarfraz Khan doesn't keep wickets in this team, then you're going to have to remove Rovman Powell and play Riley Rousseau. You arguably, while you would think playing Rousseau would be a fantastic choice, you wouldn't want to remove Rovman Powell from the side. And if you're not going to play Riley Rousseau, I've said before, I don't know why they were keeping Mitchell Marsh on the side. Nothing against the player, but injury prone, and I believe that when playing in the subcontinent, Rousseau has shown the better form and the tools to succeed in this part of the world, and at a cheaper price as well. So I don't understand why they still kept him there. But I think that if this starting 11 is achieved, I still think things have to go probably well for them this season, because they've got the form Indian players there, like Sarfraz Khan, for example, but they need some of the Indian batsmen to stand up, which hasn't happened in the previous seasons apart from Prithvi Shaw in the last season. So if they do that, I do think the Delhi Capitals can fancy their chances to qualify this season. Of course, if Khalil Ahmed is still injured, they would need to probably play another Indian seamer there. If I go back to the signings, probably maybe even a Mukesh Kumar instead of Khalil Ahmed, or Kamlesh Nagarkoti as well. So that's on that.